Hi everyone, it's Sabrina. Welcome back to my channel. First off, I wanted to say if you voted in my poll yesterday, I appreciate that. I had a few video ideas, parts of them finished, and I just wanted your input on which should come first. So this is the one that's going to come first. I had a lovely subscriber ask me if I had ever done volume 2 of Project Life 2021 because I just shared volume 3 not too long ago. And I actually went looking and I never shared this volume. So 2021 has 3 volumes. I shared a walkthrough for 1 and 3, but not this one. I don't know how that happened, but now we can take a look at it. So I put like a piece of, I don't know what this is called, poster board, but I wanted to be able to have something here to kind of hold the album and prevent the pages from kind of creasing. This album covers, like I said, April through August, and this starts off with April and Everyday Explorers. Just like in the last video when I was talking about how I use Ali Edwards and Everyday Explorers, that's the same thing here. Okay, next up is this page where I used the Ali Edwards Stories by the Month kit, and I even had a really special story about my daughter rescuing a bird that she saw and she wanted to give it a funeral. So Dad and her grabbed the bird and took it to, I think, the green waste can and gave it a funeral. The next one is a really fun family outing. This particular month, April of 2021, we did a lot of outside activities as a family and had a lot of family adventures, which I was really thankful for. Always thankful for family adventures, right? So because I had so many pictures, I wound up using Everyday Explorers and color cast design pieces for these types of pages. So I just made a little journaling card here and another one, and then added in a bunch of stamped pieces. This one actually opens up so I could have another stamped card and then another collage. I just always have such a hard time picking photos and narrowing it down, but I included all the photos there. Easter came next. I am not the best at documenting Easter. I love Easter. I love taking the photos, especially, you know, because we go to my in-laws' house and their yard is just gorgeous in the spring. But I like to keep Easter documenting simple, so I just did stamps from Ali Edwards and flares from Scrap and Happy Studio and called it good enough. I also made a little floating piece right here that says lovely little things, and I made some grass with a stamp, and you flip it over and there is some more stories. So really fun page, and like I said, love putting it together and just keeping it very simple. Moving into another weekly spread where I again use the April Stories by the Month kit, but this time pulling from this card, I used the stamp that was provided in the stamp that came with the Stories by the Month kit. So that's what I used as kind of my jumping off point, as Ali Edwards would say, and I added some journaling down at the bottom of several square photos. And I also had an insert for a really fun visit with Uncle Carlos. So I wanted to have that because I believe this week was our spring break. So a lot of fun putting that together. And I got a great photo of my husband and his parents. So that was definitely an easy choice for a focal photo. Another really fun family adventure where we like forged through the river because it was only up to like our ankles. So we crossed through the river and had a lot of fun playing and exploring. So, and I love that type of family selfie where you can see me and then my people. And I used actually digital Everyday Explorer stamps to make these cards, and then added in the color cast design pieces. Next up is this spread, which I did mostly digitally. I had not really found a good use for the friendship kit, so I decided to go ahead and see if I could use it as a spring kit. So this is a story kit from Ali Edwards, and I just decided to use it as a Project Life kit. and I made this journaling card with the digital stamps. This was in the kit, so I just used that. And this one lifts up to have some extra photos of my daughter playing. And then a photo of my son going to the doctor, and then my daughter using her iPad to call me on like the kids messaging thing. She was being silly. Same thing with my son up here. I think this is an elephant he drew, and he's pretending to ride the elephant like, what is it called? A bull rider. There you go. So, never a dull moment with kids, right? Okay. This one I really loved putting together, but at the end of it, I thought to myself, wow, this is a lot of green, and I'm not so sure if it's my favorite, but I wasn't going to redo the spread. But I had a lot of fun making the journaling cards with Everyday Explorer stamps. Sometimes I like to take cardstock that is a solid color and stamp on that, and then kind of make my own pattern paper. And that's what I did here, because we went down to a local creek and we were able to catch some crawdads. And we also found like hanging caterpillars. I made this journaling card and used kind of these prompts from the Place mini book kit from Everyday Explorers. Makes it easy to kind of think about your journaling when you use prompts. The next week uses Together Story Kit by Ali Edwards, which is one of my all-time favorite kits. I absolutely love it, and it goes with so many different projects and stories. I got a great photo of my son attempting to do his sister's hair, which was really awesome to capture. And my son coming back from we have a little neighborhood grocery store little place down the street, and he went down there on his bike because we were still not going to school full time at this point. I took this 4x6 card from the kit and then added in some of these labels and shapes, and also repeated them over here to add in some more journaling. I had so many photos from this week. That's why this insert is here. Like even this cat photo, I caught my cat inside my clothes. He still likes to be inside my clothes, and there makes it covered in lint. It's great. This was Earth Day, and I just pop dotted some phrases and did a cluster of the speech bubbles. Okay, keep going. I wish I could say that this is week such and such, but I am terrible at labeling these weeks. Maybe I should go back and do that, but I did not do that, and I haven't done it. I used the flower stamp again that I did earlier in April, but I just went ahead and used a different color scheme. Moving into another adventure, we went on a hike to like a secret spot that we know about that had beautiful lupin blooming, and I just made one card and then just did all the photos because the photos are just so beautiful. And I made like a little mini 4x6 book with a ton more photos. So I figured it is good and documented in here if I just use photos and a card. One last adventure for April was going to the ocean. We'd never really done like a winter, spring ocean visit, and it was very chilly, but we still had a lot of fun, and I loved putting together this page. I have this color cast designs piece, so I went off of that and added in a few more. Also made these journaling cards with Everyday Explorers stamps. Then I wrap up April with making journaling cards to sum up the month. Sometimes I include highlights for journaling, but sometimes I don't. This time I didn't. And then we move into May, and I had a lot of fun making a plants shelf, Everyday Explorer stamps. First week in May, I used the Gratitude Stories kit, and I used that to pull out that really good deep blue that went with my son's track and field shirt, and also some of the other photos in here as well. But this is another favorite kit that I've found a lot of uses for. One of the cards had like these blobs on them, so I was able to pull them out in Photoshop Elements and add them to this journaling card. Had a ton of photos for this week, so I just documented some fun get-togethers for my daughter, and on the back is all about Mother's Day. And then talking about how this photo I take every year, and this is when they were itty-bitty babies, so little. Let me see if I can bring it closer and you can see it, because it's just Just so cute, so tiny right there. So I take that photo every year and I absolutely love it. So I had it blown up really big. Over here is the rest of the photos. My kids played a hide and seek game, so I included the rest of the photos there. So the next week was Week in the Life, and I had the best time putting this spread together using Everyday Explorer stamps and just having these amazing photos captured. I think that is one of my favorite things about Week in the Life, the priceless photos. Like this one, you guys. I was trying to brush my daughter's teeth and she passed gas and literally thought it was the most hilarious thing ever. And because I was taking pictures and had a timer going, you caught my face and her laughing. It's just priceless. So I love this week, and I took my favorite photos and just had them printed at 4x6. And then this over here tells the story of us cleaning out the fans, because right around May is when we bring the fans back inside and clean them up for the never-ending summer in California. And then I have another photo of my daughter, but these photos at the door is another thing that I do most years for Week in the Life. And then I made some fun patterned shapes, again, like I did for the green layout back there, but using the solid color and stamping. This shows some more photos from the front porch. So for the following week, I did something totally different that I don't normally do, is that I used only stamps and only in black ink. So I made this card, this one, and also this one, and just kept it very simple and added a few phrases to the photos, and that's it. So simple, but definitely one of my favorite spreads that I made. We had a family adventure down to the water and trying to catch like crawdads and seeing some ducks. So when I was doing this spread, it was really tricky for me because I did not have the right stamp ink, and I loved this card, how it paired well with the water color. So it just took me a while to bring everything together, but I'm glad that I stuck with it. On the back, I have the rest of the page and then some extra photos. I forgot to have a photo printed through Persnickety, so I just need to get that printed. For the following week in May, I think this is close to the last week in May, my mom came to visit. My mom and stepdad came to visit, and I used Everyday Explorers and made my own digital cards and just added a little insert. And my daughter baking. So I just lifted that up and you can see the baking. And this hilarious photo, giant child trying to hide at my feet like he's still a toddler. It's just not gonna work. Finishing up May with a soft color scheme, Stories by the Month, Ali Edwards, and I loved how this came out. It was this journaling card, and I wanted to have this photo on top, so I flipped it up, and now you can see the journaling here and about Uncle Carlos's visit. Then the next page, the May and June pages, where it is the end of May and the beginning of June. I did that in a pocket page stamping class for big picture classes, so I'm not going to show you that one. We can move right into June. I love how the spread came together. The Stories by the Month kit from Ali Edwards for June is just fantastic, and it's a great welcome for summer because summer was right around the corner for us. Got a great capture of my kids playing together, and then I talked about Let's Do Summer and how we're kind of starting summer. And I loved this card, Slow Down, because we are able to slow down and take life a little bit easier once there's no school. I added in all kinds of bits and pieces to make this card. This special story right here, my daughter is just so thoughtful and kind. She wanted to give her friend some aloe vera for a sunburn, so we walked it down. Okay, moving into a family adventure where I used Studio Calico products because I had just subscribed to them. So I pulled the pinks and the greens and I went to town. I had a lot of fun with this spread. Using Everyday Explorer stamps, Studio Calico alphas, and also die cuts. And then my son catching a crawdad, the concrete slide, just a lot of fun. Another summer adventure to go see some trees and see the lake that we love visiting. I made these cards with Everyday Explorers and also the color cast designs. As you can see, that's kind of my go-to combination when it comes to putting together pages like this, where I don't use Ali Edwards products. This is one of my all-time favorite cards that I've ever made. I just love stamps and find them absolutely so versatile. Moving into this page, I think it was like the middle of summer, and I used pieces. I thought it would be fun to do it as part of, I think, Story Kit Crush. So I used it to complete this week, and I did little bits of life and all little stories right there. Also included a story about my son and his haircut, which was really fun to include. Then that wraps up June, and I used Studio Calico and Everyday Explorers. Super simple, again, with just black stamping. Next up is a whole month of Studio Calico because like I said, I'd subscribed to them, and also I was doing a lot of these as part of my Patreon that I no longer do, but maybe someday I'll bring it back. But I stamped on the cards, added color cast designs pieces, and had a lot of fun using this kit. The next spread is another spread that is in my Stamping Project Life class for big picture classes. It is 4th of July, and I show you how to document the holiday using no pattern paper, nothing, just stamps. It's fantastic. So that is that spread. So we'll move right into another ocean visit, this time a scrapbook friend that's kind of local. She told me about this spot with these beautiful willow trees, and so we hiked out there. Super blustery day, but I love documenting it with the Studio Calico cards. Another week in July that I really love how it came together. It's the pinks and the orange and the browns, and it just turned out really awesome. I loved how it came together. So I used some digital stamps, and I printed them out, fussy cut them, and added them with foam dots. And then my son didn't want to carry his socks, so he did them as like dog ears. And I just love the priceless look of Little Sister, so included that. Another Studio Calico July week, we headed off on a trip, and I played off of this card and included some of the blue when I cut off this card. So just a simple 3x3 page on the right hand side. Took another card and plopped that photo right in there. And this is the vacation spread. Kept it very simple with some cork pieces, a little bit of stamping, and that's about it. We went to Universal Studios in July and had a fantastic time. Okay, so the next spread, the last spread in here is like the last week of July. And again, that's in my Pocket Stamping Project Life class for big picture classes. So I'm sorry I can't share that one either. Maybe that's why I've never really shared this album, because it's so many spreads in that class. But the last page is very simple. We went to a local place to just visit and get out of the house and get in the water. So it was another long walkthrough, and I hoped that you enjoyed it. I know I make these really long, but I hope you enjoyed hearing all the stories and the different products and the different techniques that I tried throughout this album. I would love a thumbs up or a subscribe if you are new to my channel. Have a wonderful day. Bye.